Hey guys, it is on screen, off screen, back with another episode this week. Uh, we are all about trying to find that content that really elevates your life, inspires you to do something great, and that's what we're looking for. I'm going to start, and I'm going to talk about Amblin. Amblin, I think I said it right. Um, this is one of Spielberg's earliest movies, and I was really curious about seeing original Spielberg stuff. And this is what his studio is named after. It's this movie. They basically had zero budget, so they just didn't do talking in this movie. Everything is silent. But it is about a boy and a girl who are trying to hitchhike and get somewhere. You don't even know where they're trying to get to. And while they're on the road, they connect and they basically just go on this date. And she's wild and free, and he's careful and planned, and they get to know each other and they get connected. And he's kind of reserved because she's leaving, and she's kind of free spirited and just wants to get going. She wants him to go with her and leave. He doesn't necessarily want that. It's a pretty good little film, but it's only a pretty good little film. So I don't know why Spielberg has so much attachment to it that he decided to name his studio after this movie. He had a movie before this. He had a movie after it. Both of them were bigger hits than this one. You can't even really buy or see this movie anymore. I had to find it illegally online to be able to see it because you can't get it anywhere else. Um, and so why did he decide to? Why does he have so much passion for it? I don't really know. Considering how low of a budget he had and what he had to work with, it is remarkable. Like you really do connect with these characters who you don't hear a word from. You want them to get wherever they're going. You don't want them to get kidnapped or be lost. There's a part where the guy is peeing in the trees and the girl's like, "Come on, I got somebody. Somebody's gonna drive us. Come on!" And it's really funny, even though it's so simple and so quaint. So I don't really have a ton to say about this little film, but it's nothing great, and I don't know why Spielberg is so attached to it. If anyone who's watching does know, I would be super interested because I looked and I couldn't figure it out.
It was probably his first individual project.
No, he did an individual project before this.
No, he did a project before it, but was it truly his own?
It was it's supposed to be like he's
Right?
the one who
There are
directed it and
publishers,
everything.
producers, financiers, actors. Right? There's a lot of people that he has to deal with. He's not the Spielberg name yet to have the kind of trust that goes
So
along with that.
Spielberg, he has kind of cool starting story. He literally figured out ways to sneak on set because he tried to get into theater school over and over again, and they wouldn't let him on to theater school, yeah, or into film school. He was trying to get into film school, and they literally denied him over and over again. So he just wanted to be by movies. So he sneaks onto the Warner Brothers set over and over and over again, and connects with a major producer that was there, and starts learning from him. And the producer says, "You know what, kid? You got a lot of ambition. You need to create a project that I can show to the heads of Warner Brothers, the people who actually make decisions." So Spielberg, it's not this movie, it's a different movie that I want to see. I haven't seen it yet. Puts together a film. He does it completely by himself. He makes everything work together by himself. Weeks go past. He makes this film, and then he shows it to the producer that he's gotten connections with by sneaking onto the set over and over and over again. The producer is blown away by this film. So he goes up to the higher end people at Warner Brothers, shows them this film, bets everything on this kid, and Spielberg becomes the youngest director in film history. Um, and it's all because he decided to make this film and he decided to take a chance and he decided to not let anything stop him. He didn't let the fences get in his way. He didn't let anything get in his way. He just went with it. And he believed in himself and he created something good. I can't remember what that movie's called. That movie should be what your studio is called. That movie is the reason that he is
But
the
it was
person that he
given
is.
to him by that producer. That producer financed it. That producer gave him that opportunity. That producer like
Ah. So
invested in
maybe
him.
Amblin is the one where he paid for everything.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Okay.
the first one where he didn't have to right, like whatever that film was. I'm sure he had to deal with writers. I'm still sure he had to deal with producers, people investing in the film. I'm sure Amblin is the first one where he was like, "This is all mine.
It's
I'm
possible. Maybe
financing
that's
it
what it is.
myself. I don't have to rely on anybody else to give me this chance.
Because I've
It's
already
all mine."
proven that I have the chance with that other movie. But he proved
Yeah.
that he had the ability to create this movie with. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that you might actually be right.
I don't
Yeah,
really know. I have no idea. Never heard of whatever this film is. I have no idea what his history is. I'm just hypothesizing that that's why this movie might have more meaning to him personally.
no, it looks like you're probably right on that. Is that it was the first one that he did just completely on his own.
Yeah, his idea, his writing, his direction. He produced it. He financed it. That's
He
my
did
guess.
everything himself. Yeah, that's what it looks like. That makes more sense. It isn't one I'd necessarily recommend to anybody, but I wanted to know more about him. I mean, he's so famous. I want to watch some of his other movies, some of his old ones.
That's fair. I will
Yeah,
not watch that one, but I'm glad you did, and I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it enough. I'm gonna watch more of his stuff, and hopefully, I'll have some good recommendations for you guys of things that aren't like Schindler's List or Jurassic Park that everybody just knows. Anyway, that was a short little topic for me. Josh, what is your first one?
I watched The Founder.
Okay.
I don't really have a lot to say about this movie. It was fine. I think the clips I saw from this movie are what make the entire movie, and everything else is pretty much not worth it. It feels like another reason not to support McDonald's as a company.
I agree with that.
I don't really root for anyone. Like, they all seem to suck,
Mm.
and I would have enjoyed a more in-depth movie about the original founders, the two brothers, right? Because they briefly mentioned like we decided to cut McDonald's in half to get it under a bridge, right? I would rather have seen that than watched this forceful takeover of a company for the name of the company.
It's not just for the name of the company; it's for the
It is.
process of fast food making.
They
Because
directly
McDonald's,
ask that question. They say, "Hey, man, you saw us do it. We were open and honest with you. Why didn't you steal the idea? Why did you take this from us?" And he's like, "For the name. Because McDonald's feels like a place you can bring your whole family. Because McDonald's has this branding. And because McDonald's has the golden arches." It's literally what he says.
because it just has that
Because it
branding
has
and
the
marketing
name.
instead of creating the restaurant.
Yeah. I had high hopes for this movie. I had
I
seen lots of clips from this movie, particularly when he like
really enjoy
shows
this
up
movie.
to the restaurant for the first time.
Yeah.
That was the most enjoyable part of the movie.
Oh,
Everything else kind of was meh.
I
I
enjoyed
don't
the
really
way they
care.
did the corporate takeover, the idea of like becoming the landlords for the restaurant, so they own all of this different land. I thought was a really like evil but very interesting idea.
But I
The
already knew that.
I didn't know that,
Okay.
which I thought that was cool. That
Well,
was the
yeah.
interesting idea. I liked. I thought all the acting in it was really good. The way that it progresses with the takeover was interesting. I thought the brothers being so strict and him trying to get the profitability up, and that ice cream where you mix in the dry milk. I thought that whole thing was really interesting. Really, the only part of the movie I don't like is the part where he finds the one guy's wife really attractive. So he starts flirting with her, and we're watching that. I don't care. I don't want to see that. I, you could have just shown that he thought she was attractive, and then eventually he gets the girl, and just because that's what happens in real life. Um, I thought the deal at the very end where they don't sign and they just take the $1 million, but they don't get the percentage and how much they would have gotten if they asked for that percentage was really interesting. I thought the whole movie was full of fascinating parts put together in something great.
Don't. It's if you want to watch that kind of more legal takeover stuff, watch The Social Network. It's so much better. It's so much more interesting, and you actually feel empathy for characters.
Do you not feel empathy for the older brother? I did. Not you, really? Okay.
No, they both suck. Both the brothers suck. They're both jerks. They're both controlling. They're not
I feel
good
like
people.
the one brother is. I don't feel like the older brother is the one who plays. Who's in The Office?
Who has the heart attack?
Yeah, yeah.
He's the reason that he's doing this. The brother that you actually are talking about that you don't like is the one who's saying, "I don't want to do this." And the older brother comes to him and he's like, "I'm doing this for you." And the younger brother's like, "I didn't ask for this. I don't want this." And he's like, "But I'm doing it for you."
So it feels actually selfish.
It is selfish. He's selfish. And the older brother's controlling and like a freak. And yeah, he's a genius in terms of logistics for sure.
Oh.
But I would have just way rather focused on the brothers figuring out that logistical stuff that feel like what I feel like is a very well-known story already.
But I felt like they did explain the logistical stuff, and actually really well. One of my favorite parts is when they're drawing the setup with the chalk. I thought that was awesome. And they're going, They actually got like a full team, and they're running through how it's going to work with the full team. Really cool.
More of that. That's what I'm saying. More of that.
Oh, I was fine with how much they gave us. Like, I thought the pacing of this movie was really good. I think this movie's really good.
I think the pacing is all over the place, and they can't figure out what tone to do it in. And like,
but their tone is like
they skip so many details, and
it's a movie. Like, they give enough details that you understand the process, you understand the story, you understand what's going on.
What about his wife?
McDonald's was so. What about the wife?
Exactly. They make it my point is they make his wife a main point, and then they just kind of skip over it, and he's with the other girl.
He divorces her. He says, "I want a divorce," and then he gets a divorce from her.
But there's no like building up to that. It is, we're establishing that this is important, and then I want a divorce, and they're moving on.
There absolutely is build up for that. He like distanced himself more and more and more from her and he's working more and more, and he's listening to her less and less, and she wants to be part of this business, but he just kind of ignores her and pushes her away until he finally sees a girl who he wants more than he wants his wife, who he thinks is going to be able to keep up with his business goals or whatever it is that he has. And so he decides he's going to steal that person's wife and just leave his wife. Like, there's absolutely a build-up for that.
I don't think that there's enough of a build-up for it. And there is not, for sure, not enough build-up for the girl that he actually ends up with. Because aside from that one scene, there is nothing else.
That one I agree with you on.
There's not enough emphasis on any of the other side characters.
Yeah.
And who he brings into it. That one I can kind of forgive because they're side characters and they're more supporting the role. But
play their part.
The one that, particularly the one who actually has the girl at the beginning, should have played a bigger role. And I feel like most of the corporate takeover just feels evil.
It absolutely is evil. And I think the girl that he ends up with, they should have shown some more. I agree with that one, because in the movie, I would just take it as this is a gold digging tramp who just saw somebody who was worth a lot more than her husband and decided to go for that person. And maybe that is what she is. From the movie, that's what I would guess. Maybe she was a way better person than that. I have no idea. And that's the one character where I'm like, I'm left with no inclination of main character. I'm left with no inclination of who you are, what you think, anything at all. Like the main guy, I have some understanding of him. I have some understanding of the brothers. I have some understanding of the wife. I have some understanding of some of a lot of these characters, but the new girl, I don't. I don't know anything about her.
Yeah. It's a fine movie, I guess. Like, there are good parts to it. But like I said, I would way much rather follow the brothers and they're establishing and figuring out and getting to the point where this guy shows up. I think that's more interesting to me. Because like I said, I kind of already knew that the guy bought the land in order to take over the thing. That's a fairly common story that's thrown around, and
I didn't know that.
common business practice. Like Disney has tried to take it over and using their theme parks and wanting to own the ground. They stole it from him.
I know that's a common business practice now, but I didn't know about it being basically invented for taking over McDonald's. Like I didn't know that aspect of the story, which I thought was really cool. Like they're the ones who invented kind of this evil practice, and how it came to be about. Was
I don't think it's innately an evil practice. I just think he's an evil person.
Okay.
Right? I don't think it's evil to buy the land to own the land. Like I don't think that that's an evil concept.
The way that he did it was untasteful.
But the way he did it was evil and negative. I also think they didn't do anything in the first half of the movie to establish his greed. Right? I think it would have been a much more balanced movie if you gave, like, oh, he's in an unhappy marriage. Oh, he's a little bit greedy of a person, and, something's not enough. But he basically goes from, I'm trying to provide for my wife and family, to, I'm an evil scumbag. And it's like overnight.
I felt like there was a progression. I didn't have a problem with that either.
Oh, there was no progression
I have
at all.
no money, and I'm just...
He has money.
He's not doing super well now.
They can afford the club. There's the conversation where the wife's like, we have enough. Okay. You can spend more time with it. You can be home more.
That was an establishment of his character, because for him, he doesn't feel like he has that much money. Yes, he has normal person. He is doing fine. But he doesn't feel like he has the big business money that he wants to, and in his head, he is worth.
Right, but that's the halfway mark.
No, they're doing that at the very beginning.
No.
Yeah,
at the very beginning, he's just out working. He sells. He's trying to make sales. He goes and travels to California to meet these people.
And
they don't establish him having greed.
Something more. And literally his wife is like, oh, you're switching to another thing. It's not enough for you, blah, 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 blah.
Halfway through the movie.
There's no way that's halfway through the movie.
It is halfway through the movie.
That's halfway through the movie. That's got to be more than halfway through the movie. That's
it's like halfway through the movie.
Quarter at the most.
It's halfway through the movie. Guarantee it. The first half of the movie is literally him he briefly tries to make some sales. He finds out that this company wants 6 of his ice cream makers that he can't sell. He drives out there to investigate. He then goes to Arizona. He keeps lying to his wife and saying, I'm just doing a couple of things here. More like white lies, I guess.
And then he goes and tells his wife, he's like, this is going to be big. This is what I want. This is going to be big.
Yeah. And then he continues to work on that. And he, at that point, still feels like he's trying to provide.
I think he's just trying to do something bigger for himself because he's supposed to do something. Like he has a big ego and he's not hitting that ego mark.
Oh, it to me feels like he's just like, he sees this as his ticket to provide for his wife and build a life, right? He's just trying to work hard because that's what you got to do. You got to provide, right? And then About halfway through the movie happens, and his wife's like, "You've got to cool it. We have enough. We have friends. You don't need to cut things off with your friends because you didn't sell them properly on what they were buying. And I want this life." And then he is an evil person after that conversation.
I took it from the entire movie that he wanted to be so much bigger and fit into different groups than he does and have people praise him. Literally like, the whole time.
The first part of the movie, he's literally just trying to make some sales. And then he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, these people want 6 of these machines? I wonder why. Let me investigate that. Oh, they have a cool idea. How about you do this?" And they're like, "No." And he goes, "Okay, that sucks." And then he's like, "No, I'm not taking no for an answer. Perseverance."
Yeah.
Right? The first half of the movie is a guy I can root for. The second half of the movie is a guy who's disgustingly terrible.
Anything that
And a
switches
guy I
like
can't.
a dime for you.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't think like that. I thought it was kind of a power trip most of the time. Or like not a power trip, like a ego for needing to be something bigger.
I don't think so at all. Like, I'm going to make this comparison. We can cut it if you want to.
Yeah.
How are you with your job?
Wanting something bigger.
To
Absolutely.
provide for the family that you want to build?
That
to have the comfort that you want to have?
Yeah, like I want to be able to take care of my kids. I want to be able to send them to private school, blah, blah, blah. But there's also an ego aspect. There is, and I think of like, I do want to be in a bigger position or whatever, because there is a status and prestige to that. And no, that isn't my only reason for wanting to build a business and all of these different things. It's not. But if I said it wasn't a reason, I would be lying.
Okay, but they don't establish it, is my point.
Okay.
The first half of the movie, he is a character that is like you. He's a guy who's making sales. He's not really happy in his job, and he sees an opportunity for something more. That is not innately bad or evil, and I don't think it's a wrong thing. Just like I don't think it's wrong for you to want to build a business or want to rise higher in your company and have more prestige. But then he has this conversation with his wife, and it flips overnight to, "I am going to take everything from these people." Right? Those are two different things. The first half of the movie, I see somebody like you. The second half of the movie, I see somebody nothing like you.
Interesting. You make me want to rewatch this movie, Josh.
Go ahead.
Because we saw it very differently.
I honestly think it breaks down to, I kind of knew the McDonald's story already.
Okay.
So all of that building and everything, like I was not surprised by it at all and knew that that's what was happening.
So it was just watching something that you could have
just
read.
watching it,
You could
and I
have
was
read
like-
a quick Wikipedia article from, and it could have taken you 5 minutes instead of watching it for an hour and 45 or however long it is.
Yeah. And like I said, the stuff that they touch on with the brothers' history, they're the more interesting dynamic characters. They're the better actors. They do the better job. I would have preferred more of them. And their background, because that's stuff I'm not as familiar with.
You think they're the better actors too?
Yeah, they do better job at their role than Michael Keaton. Yeah.
Oh, I think Michael Keaton is fantastic in this movie. Like really.
I think
good.
it's like an average Michael Keaton performance.
Okay.
Like, yeah, he's a good actor. But like, I saw Michael Keaton there. Even though Ron Swanson was in this movie, I didn't see Ron Swanson, and that's more impressive to me.
He's a super underrated actor. He's really good.
Yeah.
He's really good. And quite a few things that I've seen him in, he's a good actor.
Yeah. And Michael Keaton can do more. Him as the Vulture was fantastic. That was a great performance.
Fantastic.
But him in this, it was just Michael Keaton.
Oh, I thought it was more than just Michael Keaton. I thought he did a great job. But I think he's a fantastic actor. fantastic.
He's pretty good. But yeah,
Um,
I'm fine that I watched this movie once. I don't love this movie.
Fair enough. Okay. With that, let's go to my other topic before I share a topic. The Amateur. I did go and watch this movie, and it's an extremely enjoyable movie that you have to suspend a whole heck of a lot of disbelief to just have a good time with. He is the main guy. His wife gets murdered in one of the London trams. She's trying to save somebody, and they kill him. So he goes on this elaborate ruse to be able to take out all the people that were involved in killing his wife. And he's a tech expert, so he hacks into different things, and he uses physics, and he uses chemistry in multiple different aspects to try to hunt down all of these different people. And one, you have to believe that he's a master of physics, chemistry, hacking, like the super genius of all super geniuses. You have to believe this guy is that. You also have to believe that he would even have access to some of the things that he does. Like he could hack some of the things that he hacks. Like he could do some of the things with physics that he does. And in all honesty, I don't believe that. I think this movie would have been better if you would have added a little bit of old James Bond flair to it. So it felt like you were in a little bit of an exaggerated world. But they make the movie feel like this is really grounded. This could really happen. There's no sort of old-timey charm to the movie, which would have been better that way. The acting is good. The line writing is quite good. The atmosphere and the tension is gripping. You really want him to be able to take out all these people. The way he takes out people is really cool. You just have to believe that he can do the stuff that the movie says that he can do. And there's times where even when it is really cool, there are probably simpler ways he could have accomplished what he accomplished without, like, there's a part where it's in the trailer where he takes a sky pool and he shatters the entire sky pool so the guy falls to the ground and he dies. You could have, I mean, if you can make the sky pool explode like that, you could probably short circuit something and shock him, or hack a drone and shoot him, or countless other things. But they destroy an entire sky pool with something that I think would probably be bullshit. And you just kind of have to believe that.
Why do you think it is?
Bullshit?
Yeah.
Because I don't know a system that... Because it's insulated, the glass is insulated, and you have an air pocket in the middle, and he overfills that air pocket so that the structural integrity of the pool collapses in on itself. I haven't looked into it. I don't really think that would work. I don't think there's any way you would make that work. I mean, you could just shoot the glass, frequency. I guess.
Did audible you watch the frequency. Movie? It's in the trailer.
Yeah. He uses an audible frequency and he expands the air in between the glass frames.
Yep. That's how things work.
Does he have access to the equipment to be able to even do this?
You have access to the equipment to do it.
To shatter something that thick? I don't think so.
Yeah, you do.
I think you would need
probably buy it on Amazon.
Mac. But he doesn't even access to that. Like, he's running from the government and he can't buy anything. He doesn't have anyone to help him.
I can't speak to whether or not he would have access to it because I have not seen the movie. I don't know what's fully going on. I have seen the trailer, though.
Yeah.
Like, that's a real thing. You can do that with glass. And there are numerous ways to do it. Even double paned glass like you have with a pool like that. Or
I would be curious how much of a signal you would have to be able to do that. Because I would think it would need to be fairly extreme.
Mythbusters did it with household items. on a windshield.
Okay. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
Maybe it's more realistic than I thought.
Yeah. I don't know about the rest. I'm just speaking towards that one thing because that was in the trailer. And I was like, yeah, that's a real thing. And you come out of it like, that's so unbelievable. That would never happen. So
Yeah,
it makes me curious.
I didn't believe it. There's a cool part where they have chickens, and the chickens are like the alarm system, and the government comes and hunts him down. I really love that part of the movie. I think it's really cool. There's one death at a nightclub that I think is really well done. There's another one that's kind of cool. I don't really believe it, but it's kind of cool where she's in a hyperbolic chamber and he fills that hyperbolic chamber with something that she's allergic to. It's kind of a cool thing. Where he got the pollen to be able to do that, I don't really know. But kind of a cool kill. The other problem with the movie is the ending. He purposely gets kidnapped and he just assumes that the main bad guy's not going to shoot him in the face or kill him after he's been hunted for so long. And it's like, come on. He would probably kill you. I don't know. Not a terrible movie. Enjoyable enough. I really did enjoy it. But you just have to suspend your disbelief quite a bit for me that he could do any of the stuff that he actually does.
More or less than The Revenant.
More.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, more.
Okay. Well, we'll find out in June or July for me when I finally get to see it. It's not even in theaters here anymore.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, give it a shot. It's enjoyable enough. That's what I would say. It's enjoyable enough. 6.8, something like that. Not a terrible movie. Not one that I would probably watch again.
Right up my alley, though.
Yeah.
I love the Jackal. I love the Bourne series. This seems like another one of it with a good actor.
The actor does a very good job. You believe him to be this nerdy guy the entire time. He does a really good job with all the nerdy tics and behaviors without coming across as silly. It's very believable.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to see it. Still, I just enjoy those kinds of movies. I think it's gonna be right up my alley.
I think you'll have an enjoyable enough time. All right, with that, let's go to our final topic, which, of all the topics this week, this is the one I'm most interested in what you think about it in particular.
I'm most interested in what you think about it as well.
Okay.
I know you've said a few things about it, but I want you to go first. I want you to. The topic is Shutter Island. Brief touch on it. Just what do you think?
So, brief touch. The first 2 times I watched this movie, I got incredibly bored and I didn't finish the movie, which I don't normally do, but I was bored out of my mind. I was like, what is going on? This is stupid. I don't enjoy it at all. Third time I watched it, I honestly had a really good time, and I thought the twist at the end was very cool. But yeah, it took me 3 times to actually get through this movie.
Interesting. Why did it take you 3 times to get through this movie?
Because I was just so bored. I was so bored. I feel like the pacing is kind of slow on the movie, to be completely honest. And it doesn't feel like slow burn. It feels like it's just kind of slow. So I struggled with it the first 2 times.
Interesting. When was the 3rd time you watched it? Was it for this or was it previously?
It was previously, 2021-ish, right around there.
Okay.
I haven't watched it since then.
Okay.
What did you think?
Very interesting. Going into this movie, I thought it was a horror film.
Okay.
And I knew it had a little cult following to it. And I didn't really understand that because I've never really encountered a horror film with the kind of following that this movie has. Kind of unique in that way. So I've been curious about this movie for a very long time, not enough to ever actually watch it, but finally did. And this is one I put off, to be clear. This is the one I watched last night because I was like, I'm just not sure about this weird horror movie with Leo DiCaprio. Like, it just seems a little bit off. So I'm just, all this to say, my expectations were very low.
Okay.
Right? Because outside of this like cult following, nobody really like talks too much about this movie.
No, it's very much a specific group that loves this movie.
I was able to get through all of it in one shot. I did not find any part of it boring. I did not find any part of it to have pacing issues. Okay. I felt like every scene was purposeful towards the predicted or the twist at the end. I was able to pick up on the twist before the end, even though I was wrong about a couple of details about it.
Like what?
So I thought he killed the wife and kids.
Okay.
I thought he killed her in a fire, fled to the forest, and then drowned the kids, and then blamed the wife on it in his mind. But I was able to pick up on enough, specifically the moment when the other inmate is drinking the glass of water is when I first caught on to he's a patient.
You caught on to it faster than I did the first time I actually watched the whole thing.
Okay. Yeah, it was right then. I was like, okay, he's a patient. My first inclination, I predicted that, sorry, what's the actor's name? Plays the Hulk.
What is his name?
Cast. Actually, show me the dang cast. Mark Ruffalo. I actually thought he was the inmate because...
Oh, really?
Yeah, because when he handed over the gun, he was the one that was fumbling with it. So I was like, okay, he's probably the one that that is the inmate, not knowing how to handle a gun. The fact that he handed over the whole holster, that was my first little inclination that I was like, okay, something's off here. Somebody's not telling the truth. And then when they were at the table and she goes to drink some water, but then briefly you see her hands without the glass and then the glass down without water. That's when I was like, okay, it's actually Leo. He's the crazy one. I thought all of the actors did a phenomenal job in this. I think the story...
They are very good.
...is great. Had I not gone onto YouTube to make sure that my theory of him having killed both the wife and kids, that's where unanimously it's pretty cut and dry that he only killed the wife, and that's what everybody kind of accepts to be the truth. Had I not done that, I would have been very eager to jump into a second watch to really pick up on all the details and try and find all the clues. That also, right, like leans into why I feel like every piece of this, each scene is a piece to the puzzle, and it's a brilliantly woven together puzzle. And I was entertained the whole time through. I was creeped out. I was curious. I was trying to figure it out. None of it was slow paced or boring to me, because even the parts that were slow, they were amplified by a storm or a crazy lady going shh, or him lighting a candle, and I was half expecting the guy to be like at the bars the third time he lit the match and kind of jump scare you that he had kind of gotten up and jumped over there so fast and quiet. And then he's giving him the pieces and he's telling him like, you beat me up. And he's like, no, I didn't. The place did. And the guy's like, no, you did, and calls him by his name. And absolutely brilliant. And then the ending is so haunting. Like, such a brilliantly shot scene
The
with
ending's
both
amazing.
Mark Ruffalo and Leo DiCaprio giving phenomenal performances. And you see, oh, he failed at the experiment in Mark Ruffalo's like little nod. That was excellent. And then you see him question it as Leo delivers his line, which he does perfectly. And you're left with this: did it work? Didn't it work? Probably did. Was the storm even real? Kind of questions. And I genuinely really enjoyed this movie. It absolutely does deserve the respect that it gets.
I agree.
Uh, I know Leo was nominated for an Oscar for this one. I I don't have any problems with it. He should have gotten it on this one. I don't know what he was up against, but how could you not with the performance he gave? It was so good. Everyone is so good in this. The music was so good in this. I learned in my YouTube little research about the movie that not a single piece of score was written for this movie.
What do you mean?
Like, the director took existing music and put it in a twisted way or in a normal way to communicate to the audience when he's hallucinating and when he's not.
That's pretty cool. That's
There's
really
the
cool.
themes of fire and water and when those symbolize hallucinations too, and just tons and tons of good stuff in this one. Like, this is not my normal kind of movie that I would be really into, and even still I'm not like, I love this movie, this is fantastic. But
But
I
you
was
enjoyed
very
it.
pleasantly surprised with this, and like I can say I understand the following of this movie.
That's
Like,
really
it
cool.
deserves all of the acclaim that it has gotten because they nailed it. There's nothing in it that I'm like, that doesn't make sense. How did that not work? Or I'm too mad about the questions that they didn't leave answered. Right?
Just feels like a satisfying,
It's
good thriller.
they gave you enough to it. All of the pieces make sense. It was it was really good. It was really really good.
It's cool. I really like it too. Once I got through it, it's still one that because I do feel like it's a little bit slower, that I don't really find myself wanting to rewatch. But I still think it's a good movie. I get why people like it.
I don't know how often I will rewatch it because I was able to go onto YouTube and have those extra answer questions answered, as well as given me even more to know about the movie.
Do
So
you think you would have enjoyed just going through the movie again and finding the answers for yourself versus going
no,
on YouTube? No. Okay.
no, because there's enough that I got from YouTube that I did not pick up on and probably wouldn't pick up on. Uh, it specifically the fire and water and the themes that it contains. Like, you have Leo in the cave with the fire,
Yeah.
and we are told that that's a hallucination because Leo is not being warmed by the fire. He is still shivering throughout it.
That's cool.
I would have never picked up on
Me
that
either. That's cool.
had I not had a few YouTube videos pick that out and talk about that and how that applies to the same thing when he's using the matches because he is controlling the fire, and how that makes the conversation with him real, but there is no match lit when he's having the hallucination with the wife in the cell, and how that shows that it's not real.
That
And
is
it's,
so cool.
I would have never picked up on that kind of stuff. There's a few things I would have picked up on. I would have understood a little bit more
That's
of the
cool.
interactions between two people, and the way that they treat Leo. There's a scene where I missed it in the watch, but you can, it's in the YouTube video. The actors clearly are shown. Don't look at him directly or he'll notice. A couple of background characters say that when Leo is talking to the doctor guy. And I was like, I would have never caught up on that. I would have caught like what the was about. I would have caught the a couple of the little flashes of things. I would have understood the hallucinations a little bit more. I would have understand the role playing aspect a little bit more. Um, all those kinds of things. Like, of the stuff I learned from the YouTube video, I bet I would have picked up on about half of it. And still, sorry, I still would have understood more what the actual story was and what was actual real history. But I don't think I would have caught so much about those themes and how they apply and telling the what is real and what is a hallucination kind of thing.
I wouldn't have either. That's cool. That's very cool. So, what did you rate it?
I'm rating this one's like a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Because it's not one that I'm eagerly going to be rewatching. It is one that's more on the lines of like, if somebody wants to rewatch it, I would be down. I'd be like, yeah,
Okay.
that Shutter Island's good. I like Shutter Island. I'd go a little bit more than the 7 simply because it's still one that, even though I'm not rewatching, I'm going to remember that ending all of the time. And it's going to be one that I will probably talk about more than I actually watch, which is a pretty cool thing.
That, literally, your reason for a 7.5 is exactly my reason for a 7.5. And I thought I would be a little bit lower than you, considering how glowing you sounded during this review.
Well, like, it's not wasted. It's just not my thing, right?
Yeah.
Right. If this was my kind of movie, this would easily be like a 9.5 out of 10. Because, like I said, no scene, no music, nothing is wasted. Everything is purposeful. It fits together so well thought out. Like, how many movies do we have where they're trying to do this dynamic puzzle? And at the end of it, you go, well, that puzzle doesn't really make sense because they said this and they
So
did that.
many.
You know, it doesn't. Like, this one's flawless. It is. It's just, I don't really get into this kind of movie. The big twist at the end is, you know, it's so well telegraphed and it's perfect, but there's so much of it you actually can catch on really early.
And it's a cool twist. It's a cool idea.
Yeah, and it's done really well. It's just not really my thing. So 7.5 because I'm not gonna super highly rewatch it. So.
Well, guys, I think that's going to be our episode. If you haven't seen Shutter Island, we just spoiled the crap out of it, and you're not going to enjoy it nearly as much. But still give it a shot. Enjoy it. It's still a good movie.
If you haven't watched it by this point, I don't feel bad at all. When did it come out? True. Like 2008?
Yeah, but I feel like there's a lot of movies. 2010. There's a lot of movies like that where people just kind of like do what we both did. I did that with this movie too, where I'm like, I've heard this is really good. I should watch it.
Okay, but spoiler warning is only for movies less than 5 years old. That's what I say.
That's true. That's fair enough.
If you haven't seen it in over 5 years and it's been out and accessible to you, especially in this day and age with streaming, I don't feel bad about talking about the plot.
And this one pops up on streaming all the time. Fair enough. The Founder, did you like it? Are you with Josh? What did you think? Oh, I was going to bring this up. The movies that he was going up against, one of them was Jesse Eisenberg from The Social Network. Do you think
I would have given it to Leo for this one. For Leo? Like, okay. I love The Social Network. That one's like an 8.5 for me out of 10.
Yeah.
I enjoy that movie more. But in terms of actor performance, like best actor, not even close. Leo does such a better job. It's amazing.
Is Leo better in this or in Now You See Me?
Leo's not in Now You See Me.
Oh, no. What's the one called? Where he's the con artist.
Catch Me If You Can?
Catch Me If You Can. Not Now You See Me. Catch Me If You Can.
This?
Okay.
Yeah, he's very clearly grown as an actor. Like, I love Catch Me If You Can. I also think that's a better movie. But again, in just actor performance, this one's harder to like nail, to get right. It's harder to do. You're dealing with things like again, I'm going to talk about stuff I learned from YouTube. There are points where, like, side characters, so they're sitting around in the circle and they're
Yeah.
talking about, like, how the place runs. And they use the doctor's name that Mark Ruffalo plays. The character is visibly looking at him every time she says his name.
That's so cool.
Right? Like, that's the level of acting we're talking about. And that was a side character.
That's cool.
Right?
That's
That was what was demanded by the director to absolutely nail this movie. And they did. Martin Scorsese is the director. He demanded a lot, and his two main actors absolutely killed it.
That's cool. Anyway, guys, I kind of already was headed towards the end of this episode. We appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, comment, all that kind of good stuff. We'll be back with episodes next week. We appreciate you all watching. See ya.